I'm ever so sorry, my lady. I didn't know you had company.
This is Mrs. Crawley, my cousin. You'll find she's a frequent visitor.
Good day, madam.
Hello. Denker is my new maid. She's trying to find her way around. Did you have a question, Denker?
It can wait, my lady. Well, I was going to ask you about the luggage and which cases you prefer when you travel.
Well, I don't travel much these days. Why don't you ask Spratt? He'll help you.
Oh, he'll help me, will he? That's good to know. If you'll excuse me. There you are. You took your time.
I thought you'd rung by accident.
How else would you like to be summoned? By Joshua's trumpet?
I prefer not to be summoned at all. At any rate, not by you.
Take these down to the car. I'm going to fetch her galoshes and umbrella.
I hope you can manage a few days without Denker, Spratt.
I hope that will be fulfilled, and gladly, my lady.
Are these all the cases, Denker?
Your ladyship is very sharp-eyed. We are missing one. Well, since Mr. Spratt was given the task of bringing them down, no doubt he's put it somewhere special for safekeeping.
Oh, how very considerate of you, Spratt. Fetch it now, please.
But, your ladyship, I don't...
Fetch the case, Spratt.
I don't think I've noticed that before.
My mother's maid gave it to me as a wedding present. See, when I was a girl, if I was ill, she would make the most delicious chicken broth and serve it in this.
There's nothing better than chicken broth as a pick-me-up.
No, and it really was delicious. I remember it to this day. She used to say every good lady's maid should know how to make a restorative broth.
Those days are gone, I'm afraid.
Quite gone. Hey, Miss Denker.
I'm not sure I'd agree.
Spratt, you mustn't be jealous when Denker is saying she can cook.
I was not so much jealous as dubious, my lady.
You'll have to prove him wrong one day, Denker.
Yes, prove me wrong, and make us all a delicious broth.
Well, we'll see.
That's right. Seeing is believing. Hey, Miss Denker. Mrs. Crawley said how much she enjoyed the evening, my lady.
It was colourful. Thank Mrs. Potter for the delicious dinner, but please tell her I need a rest from such rich delights.
Are you ready to go out, my lady?
Yes.
What about some of Miss Denker's famous broth?
I'm aware that you're teasing, Spratt, but as a matter of fact, it would be very nice.
Miss Denker, would you take up the challenge of the wooden spoon?
Well, wouldn't I be in Mrs. Potter's way? I'd never want to be a nuisance.
I bet you wouldn't, and there's a stove in the still room.
Could you manage with that, Denker?
I'd be delighted, my lady.
You see, Spratt, not every spring and lever obeys your touch.
Well, so this is the famous broth.
What else would it be?
Are you ready to be judged on it?
I should be judged by you, Mr. Spratt, whatever happens.
Well, if you mean I will judge you for promoting yourself through lies and fraud, then yes, I will. So will she. Your unmasking is that hand.
God in heaven.
Oh, Denker.
Oh.
I was talking menus with Mrs. Potter, and Spratt reminded me about the broth. He didn't want your efforts to be overlooked.
I'm sure he didn't, not a chance.
Of course, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, my lady.
Indeed. So, may I taste it? Thank you.
I warned you, my lady.
It is delicious.
It can't be. It's not possible.
There's a point, Spratt, where malice ceases to be amusing. Thank you, Denker, very much. I'm not hungry enough to do your soup justice this evening. Let us save its delights for another day.
Whatever you wish, Your Ladyship.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I help you, Miss Denker?
No, I'm just tidying Her Ladyship's papers. She'll be down in a minute.
I'll tell Mrs. Potter.
Oh, how very reassuring. The butler giving the cook an early warning.
What are you talking about?
No, I don't want to worry you.
Worry me with what?
Well, if you must know, there's going to be a shortening of the wages bill round here. But why burden ourselves? What can we do? Que sera, sera.
Are you trying to suggest, in your usual maladroit fashion, that our jobs are in peril?
Well, I hate to sound smug, Mr. Spratt, but I would suggest that Her Ladyship will always need to dress and undress.
Oh, while a butler is a luxury. Is that what you're saying?
My advice, Mr. Spratt, is to live for the moment. We none of us know what the future will bring. Oh, I've put your spectacles over there, my lady.
Oh, thank you, Denker. Spratt, I'll have dinner whenever it's ready. Would you tell Mrs. Potter?
I will, my lady. Although you could have rung for her yourself.
I beg your pardon?
I was just thinking aloud, my lady. I'm sorry. I was thinking aloud. I'm sorry to disturb your ladyship.
Yes, Spratt, what is it?
I just hope you will be kind enough to give me sufficient warning.
I'm sorry, what?
So I may find myself alternative employment before I am cast out.
Oh, Spratt, you've clearly had a bad dream and are confusing it with reality.
Your ladyship's humour is always a tonic, but it is a matter of some importance to me.
I'm sorry, if you were talking in Urdu, I couldn't understand you less.
Miss Denker has broken the news that the households here and at the Abbey are to be reduced.
Has she?
I do not see how you can manage without a cook, a housemaid, or Miss Denker, which leaves me as the only candidate for removal.
Well, I believe many people live without butlers, so I'm told.
Exactly. And all I ask is some warning when my time is up.
Yeah, well, leave this to me, Spratt. I will attend to it.
Ladyship.
Ah, Spratt, could we have some tea?
Your ladyship.
It seemed a little chilly, my lady, so I've brought you a shawl.
Oh, you are a wonder, Denker. I shall miss you.
Lady?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, forget I said that. After all, nothing is settled.
What's not settled?
I don't understand. I thought you told Spratt about the staff being cut back here and at the Abbey.
Well, I may have mentioned it.
Oh, well, as I said, nothing's decided.
But your ladyship couldn't manage without a maid.
Mrs. Crawley does, don't you?
Indeed I do. But I don't wish to upset poor Denker.
But Mrs. Crawley also manages without a butler, my lady.
That is true, but I don't think I could break with tradition to quite that degree. Shall we have some tea?
Your ladyship. Miss Denker. Don't worry, Miss Denker. I've got a copy of The Lady upstairs.
What is that?
A stamp to mark the British Empire exhibition, just been released. First commemorative stamp ever.
What's that great lion doing?
It's the Lion of Britain with the head of the king.
I think it's silly.
It's because you understand nothing. I'll go.
Who was that?
Who was what?
Whoever was outside.
There's nobody.
Very talkative for a nobody.
I meant he'd come to the wrong house.
Haven't we all?
Oh, Denker, I wonder if I might have something warm to drink before I go up.
Yes, certainly, milady. How about a nice cup of hot chocolate?
Oh, just the thing. Thank you. Yes?
Milady, Mr. Spratt seems very preoccupied at the moment. I wondered if you knew what it was about.
Does this spring from a tender concern for his welfare?
Well, we all have to rub along together, don't we?
Yeah, well, it would be nice if we could.
I worry that perhaps one of his friends is in trouble.
Well, I know nothing of Spratt's friends. I know he has a great many relations who seem to get married and buried with numbing regularity, usually on very inconvenient dates.
Or perhaps it's one of them.
Well, why don't you ask him? While you're making my chocolate.
Yes, milady. Of course. Who's that? Somebody at the back door.
Never mind. Mrs. Potter can answer it. It's probably a delivery.
At this time.
Mr. Willis, what brings you here?
Well, I'm sorry to call so late, but I've had an inquiry which concerns you.
I'm all ears.
Yeah, Mr. Spratt, do you know a Mr. Wally Stern?
Yes. He's my sister's son.
He's been serving time in York Prison.
Is it absolutely necessary for Miss Denker to be present?
Killjoy.
Well, she'll be questioned next, so what's the point in asking her to leave?
Thank you, Sergeant.
I'm aware of the present situation of my unfortunate nephew.
Not the present situation, I'm afraid. Mr. Stern recently absconded from prison. He's currently on the run. Someone answering his description has been seen in this neighbourhood, and naturally, we wondered if he'd tried to make contact.
Not with me, Sergeant, no.
Miss Denker, can you add anything?
No,
Nothing that leads you to suppose a man was hanging around the house?
I'm afraid not, Sergeant. Perhaps the identification was a mistake. Is he very distinctive to look at?
Not very. Quite ordinary, in fact.
All right. Well, that would seem to be that. I'll say goodbye. Of course, if he tries to get in touch.
Oh, we'll be on to you in a moment.
I'm sorry, I don't know why he wanted to drag you into it.
What an interesting family you have, Mr. Spratt. Mine are quite dull by comparison.
I haven't seen him for years.
It's your sister I feel sorry for.
Well, she has done nothing to deserve it.
Of course not. I do have one question, though.
What's that?
After you put him up in the potting shed, did he get away safely?
Good day to you.
Good day. I wonder you've got the nerve to speak to me.
I beg your pardon?
Throwing over my lady when she's been running this village since you were eating porridge in the glen with your mummy.
I don't believe I'm required to justify my actions to you.
Because you can't. Tell me, what would you call it? Gratitude? Because I'd call it treason.
Would you? Well, I call it impertinence to a degree that is not acceptable. And I'm afraid you haven't heard the last of this.
What time will you get there? On Friday?
Well, not much before 8. I want to be in possession of the room by the time Mr. Chamberlain arrives. Oh, dear.
Bad news?
Oh, dear.
I wouldn't have brought it if I'd known.
Spratt, would you ask Denker to come up here, please?
Of course, my lady.
You're quite agitated.
Denker has disgraced herself.
Well, how distressing for you.
It's not that so much. It means I shall have to find a new maid.
Yes, I see. A real punishment.
Milady?
Is it true you called Dr. Clarkson a traitor?
What? Surely not. Denker?
I just thought he'd behaved very badly towards your ladyship.
It is not your place even to have opinions of my acquaintance, let alone express them.
He can't claim your friendship now, not when he's turned against you.
If I withdrew my friendship from everyone who had spoken ill of me, my address book would be empty.
Yes, but surely...
For a lady's maid to insult a physician in the open street. You've read too many novels, Denker. You've seen too many moving pictures.
I was sticking up for you.
And for that, I will write a tepid character, which may enable you to find employment elsewhere. But from this house, you must go forthwith.
But, my lady...
You may stay tonight, but you must go tomorrow. Go.
Are you sure? I can't believe Dr. Clarkson could wish her to lose her position.
Then he shouldn't have sent it. When we unleash the dogs of war, we must go where they take us.
I'm sorry, Miss Dunker. I simply don't see I have a role to play.
So you're just going to sit there and let me be dismissed?
How did it happen? Were you drunk?
No, I was not drunk. I was shocked. Shocked at the short memory of a doctor who's failed his patroness.
I doubt he sees it in that light.
Well, that's the way I saw it, and I acted accordingly. Am I to blame if I have a very passionate nature?
Any more of that talk and I won't be able to sleep.
You won't sleep a wink if I am still sacked when we go upstairs.
That's a risk I'll have to take. Seeing cocos and mussels alive. Oh, you're repairing? I suppose you have quite a day ahead. Are you packed?
No, I have not packed.
I shouldn't leave it too long. You should take up a breakfast and dress her to be sure of your reference and then head off.
Is that all you've got to say?
Oh, don't look at me. It's not my fault. There's nothing I can do.
Did they catch your nephew?
What?
Your nephew, the one who's on the run from the police, the one you sheltered here. Did they catch him?
I don't believe so, no.
I wonder if that was because he was allowed to rest here. I think maybe it was. Septimus Spratt, if I am sacked, I am taking you down with me. And my sin is not a criminal offence.
What can I do? I can't talk to her before she's dressed.
No, well, while you're waiting, you can think of what you're going to say, unless you want to find yourself sewing mailbags.
I'm not promising anything. I mean, I suppose she doesn't listen to me.
You'd better hope she does, Mr. Spratt. You'd better hope she does. Well?
She wants you in the drawing room.
What did she say? What did you say?
I told her your crime was an excess of loyalty, that your devotion to her had made you blind.
It was the smugness of the doctor that got my goat.
That I did not say.
No. The point is, did it work?
I reminded her how hard it is to find properly trained staff now.
And did it work?
I asked her how long it had taken to break you in.
We'll have less of that talk. I just want to know, did it work?
She's going to give you one more chance.
Hallelujah.
But mind you, act surprised when she tells you.
I will rival St. Paul in my astonishment.
Right. Well, you better get upstairs. Oh, and Miss Denker, I don't want to hear another mention of my unfortunate nephew.
Oh, well, that rather depends.
On what?
On whether or not I need to mention him again.